So as you can see from the stills that will come before this is all the tops of the towers have been taken down. The angle of the quill is somewhere around 9.5 degrees. I didn't know that number. I just kept working at it until a pilot would go down into the 3/8 hole that's in the head, you know, for the studs to press into. So what I have here is a centering punch. So I've got that in the chuck. This is how I center over the hole. I position the head, so it'll go right down in there with no resistance. So once I do that, I lock the table. I'll take this pilot out, put a 7/16 14 tap in. I'm just machining. Here's the tap. I just machine into the bottom of the thread. That gives me more than enough threads in the head. I know the stud won't run out of threads before it seats. So I'd show it tapping. I am tapping under power. I leave the tap a little loose in the drill chuck, but there's just too much going on. If the tap binds, I need to be able to get off the power and onto the brake as soon as possible, which means I can't hold the phone. So I'll show you the tap down in the head where I stop, and then I move on to the next hole. I won't be able to get the last 3 towers with the head in this position. So then I'll move the head down the table and be able to hit those last 3. At least that's the way it was when I did the towers. But you can see the end mill, center cutting end mill that I had wasn't quite big enough. None of these holes are in the center of the tower. You can see some of them are off quite a bit, like this last one. You know, it's just a rough casting, so it's more than sufficient. But the biggest center cutting end mill that I had didn't quite clear it all. So when I'm done here, I'll go and knock those off with a file, and then I'll hit these threaded holes maybe with a countersink, I guess is the best word. Put a little taper on the end of those holes just so there's not a sharp shoulder. It should make it stud a little easier to start. Although you're only going to be doing this one time, so maybe it won't matter. But I got to check the stud to see if there's a small radius between the thread and the shoulder of the hex. And if there is, I'll definitely have to hit this with a center countersink. All right, let me thread the hole.